I'm going to music special, and can't you tell that I feel swell? I'm gonna clap along and sing my favorite song in order to listen music special. Hello everyone, and welcome back to music class, wherever you're watching from. Today we're going to make a household instrument out of a rubber band in a small box, and we'll also have a musical chat about reading music again, this time about rhythm rather than pitch. So I look forward to having this class with you. Let's learn something. Household instruments. Okay everybody, for household instruments today I have two items in my hands. One is an empty box and the other is this rubber band. Let me just remind you that you should speak with your parents before you try making any instruments at home. So I'm going to take this rubber band and simply stretch it across the box. I want to be really careful so I don't let the rubber band go, so it doesn't go flying and hit me or somebody else. So now I've got the rubber band stretched across the opening in the box, as you can see. Now some people who have made instruments like this, they put more than one rubber band down there and then they tried to play the different rubber bands like guitar strings. But I'm just going to use one rubber band because that's all I have right now and because I think it works pretty well. So here's the sound if I pluck the rubber band. But I can change the pitch that the rubber band makes by tightening it or loosening it, like so. So listen to this. Both hands have to be pretty active. I'm going to try to play a song. Let's see if you can guess what song it is. Any guesses? It was perhaps not the best performance of that song. Well, let me know what song you think it is by writing to me. And I'd also like you to try to build your own instrument using a rubber band at home. You don't necessarily have to use a box. Use your imagination to come up with some other instrument using the technique that I've showed you of tightening the rubber bands and loosening it to change the pitch. But again, be careful in the way that you make your instruments. And please do ask your parents for permission first. Well, thank you for joining me for Household Instruments again. And we'll see you the next time we can come up with an instrument that we can make at home. Bye-bye. Household Instruments. Well, hello everybody. So last time that we talked about reading music, we talked about what notes go on what lines and spaces on the musical staff if we're looking at the treble clef, which is normally what we play with the right hand on the piano. We learned that it was F, A, C, and E in the spaces, and E, G, B, D, and F on the lines. And we also learned where on the piano keys those notes are when we filled those in thusly. And of course the pattern continues that way. We can find a C by looking for the two black keys, and next to that on the left is every C on the piano keyboard. But today we're going to talk about the rhythms of the notes that we see when we're reading music. So I'm going to take away our whiteboard and instead show you some musical notes. But the first thing that I want to talk to you about is the timing of a song, the pulse of a song, the beat of a song. So listen to this metronome. So that is a beat at 108 beats per minute. That number means how many times does the beat occur within every minute. So if my beat were at 60, it would be 1 per second. Let's listen to that. Let me slow it down to 60. So there's 60 seconds in 1 minute, and if there's 60 beats in 1 minute, that means that there's 1 beat for every second. We divide music up into measures. Each measure has the same number of beats in it. So when you listen to this metronome, you can hear a ding, and then click, 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 ding, click, click, click. The ding is the number 1, and the clicks are 2, 3, 4, ding, 2, 3, 4, ding, 2, 3, 4. So let's count together just a little bit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So I can play a song that follows along with that beat. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So in every one of those measures, a measure was 1, 2, 3, 4. So a measure had 4 beats in it. Well, I'm going to show you some different notes, and I'm going to stick them up here. Let's pretend that this space up here is just 1 measure, so it's just 4 beats. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's all that can fit right in here. So the first note that I'm going to show you is called a whole note. A whole note lasts for 4 beats. There it is. So if I were to play this note, it would sound like this. That's it. It lasted for 4 beats. That's all that can fit in the measure because it takes up 4 beats. But what if I split this one in half? Then I get something that lasts for 2 beats. It's called a half note instead of a whole note. And of course, since they're each 2 beats, to get to 4 beats in the whole measure, I need 2 of them. So let's listen to that. So there were 2 in there, and they each lasted for 2 beats. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now what if I split each of these into half as well? Well, instead of half notes, now we will have quarter notes. Because the word quarter means a fourth of something. Okay, so now it's going to sound like 1, 2, 3, 4. And those 4 notes, because each one has 1 beat, they take up the whole measure. And that's how fast they go. But what if I were to split each of these into half as well? Well, then instead of quarter notes, we would have eighth notes, which means that 8 of them can fit in 1 measure. Here's what 1/8 note looks like. Sometimes you see them by themselves in a song. But when they're connected to another 8th note, when you have 2 8th notes in a row, they look like this. So 1 and, 2 and, 3 and, 4 and. Let's listen to that. So you notice 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 is what I played. The correct way to count this would be what I was saying earlier. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. We put the and in there to signify that note coming in. So there are other notes as well. After the 8th note, if we split each one of these in half, we would have 16th notes. And we could split up 16th notes to be 32nd notes and 64th notes. And you can even have shorter, faster notes than that as we keep on going. But we're going to stop today just learning the 8th notes. Okay, so in music we have different kinds of notes that last for different amounts of time. And we also have to, of course, pay attention to the staff, where on the piano those notes are played. But right now I'd like to do some rhythmic exercises by taking some of those notes that we just looked at and putting them up here, and we can play them. So we'll just do one measure of music at a time. Let's start with a quarter note, that's one beat. And let's put in some 8th notes. And let's put in a half note as well. So all of these together have to equal 4. Let's make sure they do. This one counts as 1. These are each half of one beat, so together they make 1. And the half note is 2. So 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 4 beats in this measure that are all accounted for by notes. Now let's play it. There we go. 1, 1, 1, 1, 2. Let's try a different one. Some 8th notes, followed by a quarter note. Some more 8th notes together. So how far have we gone now? 1 and 2, 3 and blank. We need something that takes up one beat now. So we could put one of these in there, another quarter note. Or we could put in a couple more 8th notes. Why don't we put in a couple more 8th notes? So here's another measure of music. Let us play it. I could continue repeating that. Kind of hard to do. Let's do one more. So I'll take these off. Let's put in a quarter note to start. And just for fun, let me show you one other symbol, which is quite important. Music isn't only sound, music is also silence. And this little symbol right here is a quarter rest. A quarter rest lasts exactly as long as a quarter note. The difference, of course, is that the quarter note is a musical sound, a note which is produced when you play it, and a rest is just silence. So we've got one beat as a quarter note, one beat as a rest, and that means that we still have 2 beats that we have to fill up. Let's put in some quarter notes. Now let's put in another rest as well. So if I were counting this, it would be 1, 2, 3, and 4. But of course, during the rests, I can't make any sounds at all. Let's try to play it.
Well, I'm going to music special, and can't you tell that I feel swell? I'm gonna clap along and sing